Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm Watching Bridgerton, Season 3, Episode 6.
Romancing Mr. Bridgerton. That's the name of the book.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It was like, there was like a halfway through episode of Season 1 called The Duke and I. It's like, that's what they're doing.
This was actually, I was about to say not a lot happened. So much happened.
Yeah.
This was a really eventful and dishy episode. You are excited.
Well, if we want to skip all the way to the end, I'm so pleased that Colin found out about Penelope alone, away from everybody else, and that no one else told him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he didn't have to find out himself. Like, she didn't tell him, but it's like, they weren't still at the ball. It's not a huge thing. Eloise didn't do it. Like, I'm just like and especially because Eloise and Penelope had just gotten back in cahoots. So.
So.
Because they should have been cahooting the whole time.
No, I know. But so Queen Charlotte has this sort of ongoing quasi-playful, quasi-not feud with Lady Whistledown. And it has something to do with, or not something to do, but it was brought to a head by Francesca, because she was trying to set up Francesca with Salmadani. Yeah. And Francesca has gone with John Sterling Kilmartin. Yeah. And Francesca is desperate to proceed with this marriage. Yeah. And as such, they need the Queen's blessings. Mm-hmm. So they need for Violet to speak to the Queen about it. And does Violet just not want to go against what the Queen wishes? She
just still has reservations about Francesca and John. And so she's
so gung-ho with everybody, though. Why is this?
Because Francesca said it because it's not like bombastic and crazy and passion.
Oh.
And she wants her children to be like passionately in love. And it's like, can you settle for like the easy comfort of
So then I quite literally do understand, because it was why I was tepid to them at first. Because I was like, I'm not getting it. But the whole plot is that Francesca's a little, different. I guess, neurodivergent, or
she's just different from the rest of them. She doesn't necessarily need a big,
she wants it quiet,
crazy love. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, they've been saying that, but I'm getting it now. And so I guess Violet just doesn't trust her, or
she doesn't trust herself to be able to talk to the Queen in a way that's not going to make it seem like she doesn't have reservations. Mm-hmm. So she's afraid she's going to go talk to the Queen, and the Queen's going to be like, you clearly don't want this match to happen, so no. And if the Queen says, no, you can't get married, you can't fucking get married.
But all of this, again, has resulted in, because Lady Whistledown, I guess, picks up on this, because it's Penelope, and she knows what
she's not an idiot,
on. And so that's why Queen Charlotte wants Lady Whistledown exposed, is because she questions her authority. Yeah. And Cressida in the previous episode took credit for it. She met with Queen Charlotte in this episode, and Queen Charlotte was unconvinced.
She was more convinced after she delivered the, like...
Yeah, but I mean, she met with her, and Queen Charlotte was sort of like, well, publish a newsletter, and then maybe we'll talk, and also get out of my house.
It wasn't even her house.
Well, no, I'm talking about the first meeting.
Oh, sorry, yes.
When her and her mother went.
At the palace, yes, correct.
Lady Cowper, she's not really doing anything, although I guess she quite literally is.
She's trying,
she's the one who wrote the letter, I presume.
Or she at least helped her get it printed. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because Cressida's first go through was very giving and taking, taking and giving, far and wide, wide and far.
Near and far. Yeah.
And so her father, Cressida's father, has been kicked out of his club.
Yeah.
And is threatening to,
send Cressida to Wales with her Aunt Joanna.
Yeah. A fate worse than death.
Well, Wales is nice now, but I do suspect in the 1800s it was mostly sheep. I don't think
they did say that.
I don't think Cardiff was like the height of society. Like it's like it's like the London of Wales now, but yeah.
Okay. And so Will and Alice Arnold. No, Will Arnold is my brother's friend.
Mondrich.
Mondrich.
Yeah.
Who's Arnold? Marcus Anderson.
Yeah.
I'm good with names. Mondrich, so they had to have a party.
Yeah. Well, they decided to have a party.
Well, because they had him and John Sterling and Benedict and Anthony.
No, Colin.
Colin had, right. had a gentleman's night at the bar because Will is selling it.
Yeah.
And they're still really trying to play that plot like it is going to result in anything other than him just shadow running the bar.
Yeah, the other thing too is like I feel like Lady Danbury at this point is like pushing too hard because she's like, sorry, I just got like taken under by the boys kissing on the wall. Sorry.
Do we need to take
we need to take it down. No, so I think that Lady Danbury is pushing Will and Alice a little bit too hard because she's like, if you want to like win the game, you have to like lead the game, and it's like, can they not just like middle of the pack this?
Acclimate.
Like, can they not just, we have to like get them all the way up there immediately? Because I'm like, you sell the club fine, but then it's like, why do you have to host a ball? Like, and also technically they are not even Lord and Lady Kent. It's the boy.
Yeah, but I mean with this stuff, especially like what I know of new money and all that, you really got to get the ball rolling in order for him to have a chance.
I do get that. It just is like...
I mean, they did a good job at the party in spite of Queen Charlotte playing it very unimpressed initially.
Yeah.
The second they cut to that room, you were like, this room is beautiful.
Okay, I just like, obviously everybody who's watching this has watched the show, but like Lord Kilmartin was like, I'm gonna look at the excellent wainscoting, and I was like, you do it, bro, because it fucking slaps in this room.
There's so much of it
and there's so much of it, and then the like flower panels in between, and then that little thing in the middle that then spun out to like
origami carousel.
Just so everyone knows, if I'm ever able to build my own house, there's gonna be a room in it that looks just like that. Beautiful. No notes.
But no, they did it seems a fantastic job preparing and setting up this ball. I loved Alice's hair.
And her dress, too.
Yeah.
We are getting a lot of this, like, very pale, almost silvery mauve color in this, because Penelope wore one, and then Francesca wore one, and now Alice has worn one, and they are all a very similar, or, like, in the same color family. Beautiful. Again, 0 notes.
Also, and it feels redundant, but that's also, I mean, I'm assuming that's part of the fun of watching the show, and I'm assuming it's part of the fun of watching us talk about it. It's just talking about how beautiful it was.
Yeah.
But a truly, we both exclaimed when Queen Charlotte came in, very blue and red, and boldly blue and red.
It's a really underrated color combination that
Same with
like
blue and orange.
I think blue and orange is not underrated. I think because you remember that,
but
like,
there's like
10 years ago, all the movie posters were like turquoise and
but there's
orange.
like a red orange that's like
sure,
yeah,
but it's like this, like it was like navy blue and like true red, and I mean,
I love all of her wigs,
and her wig
it was
too.
asymmetrical. And the thing is, because I was talking to my mom about this, they would just wear wigs at this time period. And frankly, that's all they needed to do, because this is quite clearly blind casting. But I love that they have gone the extra step to make the queen's hair look like her wigs look like her hair. Like it's very textured, and there's braids, and there's sometimes dreadlocks.
I was gonna say she
afro
had dreads
qualities,
before too,
but it still looks like the French. Like
it's very regal and baroque.
Yeah, the combination.
It's amazing.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
I just like can't say enough good stuff about it, because you're right. It's just, and it's the same with all of the dresses too, because
it feels authentic. It feels real versus just trying to shoehorn her into old timey clothes.
There's been so many like
the same with Kate's. Like Kate's stuff all has a very
like an
Middle
Indian
Eastern
quality.
Indian quality.
It's beautiful, but it's like, so we've all seen the costuming stuff where they're like they like found like dress patterns from the time, but then they're using modern fabrics. And I just think it's the best.
I love it. I mean,
decision.
this is as far as I'm concerned, this is skirting on high fantasy.
Yeah,
I mean, I know it's not.
Yeah,
but because that woman that I can't think of her name, who we like her, she does the YouTube videos about the period costumes and the bonnet.
Yeah.
And she's a stickler for accuracy, and so she's of course complaining, critiquing this season because it's gone just full off the rails.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that. I want to like what I'm looking at more than I want to believe that it's taking place at a literal time in history.
Yeah,
this is very heightened, and that's what I want.
I agree.
And on that note, after the Queen came in, we then get Cressida in full Whore of Babylon. It was the best
also,
she's looked.
Very Scarlett O'Hara, like I said, where it's like, you go to this party and you live in your shame and you wear the brightest dress that you have.
It was so pretty, and it finally, the like sleeves, it was like a bow in the back that wrapped around. It was finally flattering, and I mean, I've loved all of her ridiculous clothes, and I've loved all of the pink.
Yeah.
But I love the push into not pink but red, and then the finally, like, she looked more like Lady Tilly Arnold.
It was almost like fuchsia also, like a really, really, really
but the neckline was
pink.
much lower, and her hair was, it still was silly, but she had like dewdrops.
Yeah.
And she did pull off a serviceable Lady Whistledown with her announcement.
Well, because she also, I think what's really important is at the end of that scene where her mother was like, you know, she was going about the article that she was trying to write, and she was like, I'm scared. I think Lady Cowper was like, okay, we got this. Like, we can do this. Because she was like 5,000 pounds. Well, her father withdrew her dowry also. And she was like, with 5,000 pounds, it won't like let you really survive, but it could be a good dowry for a husband from the continent. So
earlier in the episode, she approached Eloise for help. And I was a little surprised because I'm with you. I keep waiting for characters to be working together, and it does seem that we're finally getting that with Eloise and Penelope. But I feel like I missed something. Why was Eloise so condescending to Cressida about helping her with? Because Eloise knows she's not Lady Whistledown.
I think that's why, if I'm being honest, because she just is like, of course. Well, and she was like, well, you remember you wrote all those terrible things about me, and it's like, also, I can't be friends with you anymore. I don't know. She can't be seen with her.
Yeah.
And already her father was, like, Cressida's father was like, get this Bridgerton cow out of the house.
Yeah.
So it's like, where are they going to meet? You know, the Bridgertons aren't going to let Cressida come over, and she can't go over to Cressida's. And so it's like, and also she's like, I don't think she like quite understands what Cressida's like game is even still, because I think Eloise is kind of dumb and a bad friend. Whatever.
I think she
yeah, she does. She for sure does.
She took for granted that Penelope was the plain friend.
Yeah.
And I think she's mad that Penelope's getting to be, it's the Cecily Strong and Adie Bryant teen girls.
Which one?
Where they have the talk show where the girls talk.
Yeah.
And the one friend is way more popular than the other one.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I could only think of the one where they make Adie Bryant or be the cheese when they go out for Halloween.
Girlfriend talk show.
Yeah, I remember. Regardless, I also think one of my biggest problems until the end of this episode with Eloise so far this season is I don't think they're hitting it hard enough. Like, Claudia Jessie is doing a fantastic job emoting with her face and everything, but like, I don't think they've hit it, or maybe she hasn't even, as the character, realized, and maybe that's part of it, but basically my issue is I think they need to make more of a point of the reason that she is acting this way and feeling this way and so mad at Penelope when, like, just knowing she's Lady Whistledown, in my opinion, isn't quite enough to have created this vast chasm between them, is that she's being left behind. You know, one of her older brothers is married, her older sister is married, now her best friend and her other older brother are getting married, and her other younger sister... Her younger sister is getting married.
You mentioned it in our watch along.
Yeah.
Because they're patreon.com/soimwatching this show, $3 watchers tier. But there was a handful. The show's doing a fine job, I would say. And I guess that's preferable to, like, hitting us over the head with it. But there was a handful of shots of characters looking pensively in directions.
Yeah.
And I was sort of like, what's happening? And you're like, I think that's meant to show that she's feeling like she's being overshadowed, left behind.
But like that could, for me, without getting hit over the head with it, that could be easily solved by her having a conversation with Violet where she's like, I don't want to be married and I don't want to do this, but I do feel as though I'm being left behind and that everyone is moving on and doing stuff without me.
That's the spirit that I was enjoying about the potential for Eloise and Cressida's friendship, is because I wanted them to be more in cahoots. And again, I get the Bridgertons' dislike for, and the Tons' dislike for Cressida, but we'll see. Methinks it will carry over to the next two episodes.
Of course, yes.
We checked in with the modiste. She also was, her performance was,
understated?
Well, I was like, why was that weird? And you were like, well, she was involved in the Lady Whistledown drama, but
in season 2, they got very in cahoots with each other because
she was like sharing some of the money and
well, she was basically talking up the modiste in her articles for basically the modiste then was sending the pages to the publisher for her because she caught her in the bad part of town. And she was like, I'm clearly going to get caught. If you saw me, someone else might, like a maid or something. So, like,
there was just a loaded shot. We made sure to show, what is her name?
The modiste?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I was impressed. I had it just a second ago, and I was going to...
Yeah.
Veronique, something to that effect.
No, Genevieve Delacroix.
Genevieve.
Yeah, Madame Delacroix, yeah.
They made a point to show her looking some sort of way.
Yeah, well, she was
then preparing Penelope for her wedding dress.
She also was very, like, because she's like, I can't believe you're gonna stop, and she was like, oh, I couldn't imagine giving up dressmaking because, like, the glow of a girl when you first put the gown on her, blah, 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 and so it's like...
That's another part where I think the story, and again, we've got 2 more episodes, we'll see what goes, but I think the show is being a little too modern, that they're treating this happy ending for Penelope like she's somehow giving up something.
Yeah.
And I understand that she is, but I think Bridgerton's a very special show, and it's very delicately balanced between time and place.
Yeah.
And it's the sort of thing that I'm like, don't go too far one way, don't go too far the other way.
Yeah.
Because I even name dropped, I was like, this is like Little Women, where it's like, how do you have a progressive happy ending for something so of its time period?
Yeah, that's actually like part of the issue I'm having with a couple of things where like what you were talking about with Penelope and the writing, which I, by the way, I loved also that scene with her and Portia, where she was like, your father
They're being very intentional
yeah.
and I would even say delicate with Portia's characterization this season.
And so she basically was like, your father was terrible, but I got you girls out of it, and like all I ever wanted was for you to do better than me. And she was like, and you have. She was very
it's very Alice and Betty Cooper.
Yeah, she was very specific not to say you all have, even though the girls have doting husbands.
Yeah, they're actually so ideal. And they're both well, one of them's hot.
Yeah.
The Asian one I think is just hot.
Yeah.
The other one, Dankwater,
he's sweet.
Cute. He's cute.
So sweet. No, he's Finch.
Whatever. You can handsome them up.
Yeah, yeah. Regardless, I did really love that. But the other thing is, if we want to move to like Benedict and Hannah knew what Lady Tilly
Arnold,
and then the new boy, I've already lost it, Paul. Okay, so here's my
Paul.
Oh, that's what it says his name is. So here's my thing. I love the representation. I loved the gay artist that we had in season 1. Apparently there is like
I just feel like the show has been gaslighting me ever since that one scene.
Okay,
where I'm like.
No, everyone saw it. You were not alone. You're not special.
Okay, I guess I'm Eloise.
No, okay. So apparently also on Queen Charlotte, there's something between like one of the prince's friends and a footman or something as well.
I want to watch Queen Charlotte.
We can do that.
We'll do it.
Yeah.
Because we have nothing but time. Go ahead.
Regardless. So I see that. And also people have been doing a lot with Cressida and Eloise as well. I see it. I'm there for it. I'm here for it. I love it. My issue is I don't think you can have both the like racial integration and
you keep coming back to this. I think it's very Aquaman. They're just going to talk.
No, for sure.
I think they're just gonna...
Again, I'm fine with that, but there's still such a hard line about you have to breed.
Sure. Well, because I think he's going to... I don't think that's going to... I think he's going to be open. I think he's going to be fluid. I imagine mild, light spoilers. I gather from what I've seen that in the books he ends up with a woman.
They all end up with somebody of the opposite gender.
Okay.
I'm just saying. Again, I would love it if that weren't the case.
What they're going for is just a more poly, more fluid, a more bisexual vibe.
Okay.
Which is, and that's sort of my thing.
Then I just wish he'd been fucking that artist in season 1. You know what I mean?
You and me both. Well, I don't know.
Because he's so
much older than the typical, like, coming of age coming out, like sexual awakening. But a lot of, especially bisexual men,
don't realize
until way later because they are sexually attracted to women. And I don't know. And the reason why, and I get what you mean when you were like, when you're saying that there's an elephant in the room when it comes to this.
There's an expectation of children.
But the show hasn't pointed to anything. The show has not, to my memory, made a point to point to something gay and been like, ooh, that's frowned upon.
Sure,
it's just kind of been not.
That's fair.
It's just sort of been unheard of.
Yeah. Again, I can't stress enough how much I want to see it.
Your homophobia is very understandable.
You had to get me back for calling you not special, huh? No, I would love to watch Luke Thompson kiss so many boys, like all the boys.
This is my dream reality.
Yeah,
I was like Sense8, Savages, like.
No, I'm so here for it. I'm just also because I do feel like at a certain point, like, if you're not going to tell the story at all from the book, then like you need to like hard pivot. But he also left that room with a quickness. He like couldn't get out of there fast enough.
He wasn't ready.
I know.
The funny thing is I feel like Colin could handle it no problem. Well, but for Colin, it would just be like a wild night.
Colin's been to the continent.
It would be like a one-off. Yeah. And I think for Benedict, it's too close to home. I think that's the issue. We didn't actually say.
Maybe Benedict needs to go traveling.
Yeah. I couldn't think of a joke in time, and
did I ever tell you about that amazing line that I loved so much in Downton Abbey when Rachel and I finally watched all of it?
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we while we were working, I just finally got through.
Did you like it?
It's great. I loved it. But there's a moment where there's like, obviously the one footman is gay, and you know that from like season 1. And then they bring in another footman, and the first footman, Thomas, is like kind of into him, and he sort of makes a pass at him, and he's like very strongly rebuffs him. And I don't know if he gets his ass, if he kicks his ass, but someone kicks his ass. Regardless, they bring it to Lord Grantham. And because the second footman keeps complaining about it and like making it a problem, and Lord Grantham finally is like, "Oh my God! If I had like screamed every time a boy at Eton tried to kiss me, I would have gone hoarse in the first 2 weeks." And I was like, "Fucking amazing!"
We don't tie ourselves into knots over a discrete bit of buggery.
I was like, "That's the only reaction I want."
What, not once.
Yeah, to period era like gay stuff, that's the only reaction.
It's so common.
Exactly. So regardless, I just think it was...
He was having dinner with Lady Tilly Arnold and a second very handsome, very confident man. And the second...
The prolonged eye contact for me.
The camera cut to him. I was like,
Yeah. He may as well have been like,
And they smoked on the balcony, and I was loving.
And then they were like, "We saw you from across the room, and we like your vibe."
No, but Benedict was kind of devastated when he walked in on them kissing. And they were like, "We were actually going to invite you upstairs." Into which he like Scooby-Doo ran, tripped, clipped the doorway. Like,
there was a Benedict-shaped hole in the wall.
Could not get out of there fast enough. Her wig was akimbo.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So we're going to pick back up with that. Maybe. Or maybe we'll just go another 2 seasons.
It's just it.
And the show will be like, what? Never. He's always only had female love interests.
No, I just like, I don't know. Again, I would love it. But I am very curious how they're going to navigate it.
And you know, it's funny because the Straights are being so sex, like all the sex.
Yeah.
I would love if the like handful of queer stuff is the brushing of hands.
Sure. Yeah.
Just the subtle suggestions walking across the countryside in the dewy mist.
In the moors.
Word salad.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we've covered that episode.
Enough. Fine.
So we're gonna watch the next one.
Bye.